I had an amazing upbringing, great family, great parents, but there's a saying, bad company corrupts good character, right?
Company corrupts.
Yeah.
Got it.
Could not be more true. As soon as I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, all of a sudden I'm just in the wrong places, right? And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna just work on this music thing. And I told myself, oh yeah, if I don't, I'm gonna try to work on the demo. When back in the days you would work on your demo. Kids these days don't even really know what that is, right?
Yes, give it out.
Yeah. And then I said, all right. But then that scene, as we all know, has like a lot of parties and drugs and all that. Next thing you know, I'm like 19, 20, 21, and I'm just in these really bad environments where there's a lot of drugs. And you start experimenting, and long story short, I became addicted to drugs, and I'm trying to really work my way through that. I'm like, how do I get out of this, right? And so it was like one of the darkest times in my life because I didn't really see a way out. And
what years was that? Was that like
maybe like 3 years? 3 years, just and so
trying to figure everything out.
Yeah. I'm away from my family, and so I really empathize with people that struggle with addictions and all that, because it's so tough. And so and the reason I share this is because that's part of my context, right? There's the reason I am so driven now is in part because of those seasons, right? And so then, I end up meeting my wife at church, because my parents used to say, like, you got to go to church. And I'm like living, this crazy lifestyle. And I'm like, can you guys stop bothering me? Let me live my life.
So you went to church?
Yeah. And so I always share this story because, so my wife was the youth leader,
okay.
And so after a while, like, I had this pretty big transformation where I literally go from like a drug addict / selling to just involved in church, and then start working with my wife, and we get married. And but I was still in the painting industry, right? So in 2014, where I'm like, okay, I have a family now, I'm gonna have to partner up with my dad. That's when we relaunched this company, made that grow. And so I've always pretty much been in the painting industry. And so yeah, I have 22 years of experience.
There you go. So I want to take a couple steps back. So all right, so we're in drugs, and then that transformation. So like, tell me about that transformation that you had. I want to share a story after you kind of go about that. So tell me about that transformation that you had from like 19, and then you went into business, and like, how was that transformation, stopping and then having vision and a focus?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was pretty radical, pretty dramatic. I go from just being someone that not only is destroying himself, his life, to also destroying other people, right? And when you're in that space, like I say, you lose like your values, right? I mean, I grew up in a good family, and then when you're in that headspace, those go out the window. 100%. And so, when I began to experiment, just God, right? I'd say I was delivered instantaneously from the drug addiction. I just kind of prayed, and God delivered me from that. And I was just so thankful to be in a different space. And so I credit God for the transformation, but also entrepreneurship that also pretty much helped save me, because
Purpose.
Yes. And so when I realized that, through entrepreneurship, I can provide for my family, do something incredibly impactful, build a company that can outlive me, provide work for other families. Like I fell in love with entrepreneurship. I realized, wow, if I crush it, I could literally make as much or more than a doctor, a lawyer.
Right.
And that to me was incredibly motivating, and I haven't looked back ever since.